Imagine a city built of wood and tar, baked for months under a merciless sun until it was as dry as parchment. In the dead of night, on September 2nd, 1666, a single spark in a small bakery on Pudding Lane ignited a nightmare that would consume the heart of the British Empire. For 4 days, the world watched as London turned into a literal hell on earth. Over 13,000 homes vanished. 87 churches were reduced to rubble. Even the colossal St. Paul's Cathedral melted like wax. Yet, when the smoke finally cleared, the official records stated something impossible. In a catastrophe that erased an entire capital, only 6 people were confirmed dead. How could 80,000 people escape a wooden trap that burned at over 1,000 degrees? Today, we peel back the soot of history to uncover the chilling truth behind the Great Fire of London and the mystery of the missing casualties.
The summer of 1666 was a season of omens. London was a city gasping for air, suffering through a brutal drought that had turned its timber-framed buildings into boxes of kindling. The streets were narrow, the houses leaned toward one another like conspirators, and the very walls were coated in flammable pitch. This was a city waiting for a reason to burn. That reason arrived at midnight on a Sunday. In the kitchen of Thomas Farriner's bakery on Pudding Lane, a fire began in a forgotten oven. It started small, a mere flicker among the flour and wood, but within hours it was a monster. The baker and his family escaped across the rooftops, but the sparks flew out into the night, landing on the hay and timber of neighboring warehouses. By dawn, the spark had become a wall of flame.
The Lord Mayor, Thomas Bloodworth, famously dismissed the threat, but he was catastrophically wrong. A fierce gale from the east caught the fire, acting as a bellows to a forge. The fire didn't just move, it leapt. By Monday, the heat was so intense it created its own weather system, a firestorm that sucked the oxygen from the air. The River Thames was clogged with boats as the wealthy tried to save their belongings, while the poor fled into the open fields beyond the walls. The scale of the destruction was biblical. Imagine the sound of thousands of oak beams snapping, the roar of the wind, and the screams of a city in panic. By Tuesday, the unthinkable happened. St. Paul's Cathedral, a stone titan thought to be indestructible, was surrounded by scaffolding for repairs.
The fire climbed the wood, and within hours, the lead roof, spanning 6 acres, began to melt. Eyewitnesses described a river of molten lead flowing down the streets like lava. It seemed London was destined to be erased from the map entirely. But then, on Wednesday, the winds died down. The Duke of York's strategy of blowing up houses to create fire breaks finally halted the beast. The city was a smoking wasteland, and this is where the mystery truly begins. When the king's officials began counting the cost, the property damage was astronomical, billions in today's money. But the human cost, the official death toll, was just 6. 6 individuals in a city of 80,000 where 13,200 houses were leveled. This statistic has baffled historians for centuries.
How is it possible? One theory suggests a miracle of evacuation, that the fire moved slowly enough for the healthy to flee. But what of the elderly, the sick, the prisoners in the deep dungeons? A darker theory proposes that the poor were simply never recorded. In the 17th century, the lives of the destitute were often invisible to the state. But there is a third, more terrifying scientific possibility. Experts now know that the Great Fire reached temperatures exceeding 1,250 degrees Celsius. At such heat, human bone and flesh do not just burn, they incinerate into fine ash. In the chaotic aftermath, with the city buried under feet of rubble and soot, the remains of the victims may have been indistinguishable from the ruins of their homes.
London didn't just burn, it cremated its dead.
Whether it was a miracle of survival or a hidden tragedy of uncounted thousands, the Great Fire of 1666 remains the ultimate testament to London's resilience. From the ashes of a medieval wooden trap, a city of stone and brick arose, designed by the likes of Christopher Wren to ensure that such an apocalypse would never happen again. But beneath the modern pavement, the secrets of those 4 days in September still linger, buried in the soot of time.